Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Kurt Bergland's Baseball World. You know, every Monday at 10 a.m. Central, I review a book. Could be fiction, could be nonfiction, could be hot off the presses, could be way out of print, or it could be something somewhere in the middle. And this one is way out of print. This is the Complete Handbook of Baseball. The Complete Handbook of Baseball I like to think of as the Bill James Baseball Abstract before the Bill James Baseball Abstract. But they actually overlapped. These began being printed, although they didn't look like this, in the early 70s as far as I can research. 71, 72. Then they changed the cover and they started looking like this. This was, for me, as a young reader, although this was not a young book, it's an adult book, believe me. Not an adult book like that way, you pervert. Stop thinking that way. But it certainly is for an adult reader. Not that kind of adult reader, but Zander, Hollander wrote 3 different parts or so of this book. First part, some feature articles. For example, this one has articles. This is from the 1976 edition of the book. This was a yearly publication. Stan Musial, Bill Lee, a brain boggler, strikeouts versus home runs. That's very entertaining reading and interesting in a 1976 sort of way. In this book, there are brief biographies and statistics of over 300 players. There is a sort of a team outlook section. There are statistics in the back that are for every player and pitcher who got into a game, I think. The schedule for the season that this is about. TV and radio information. It's almost 300 pages, and there's an awful lot in here. And you have to think, you know, these are pre-internet days that this is being written for, and this is a fantastic resource. So it started in the early 70s. I believe he got into the very early 90s before stopping publication because other things had passed this book by. But if you can get your hands on one, and you can, the editions from the 80s are actually pretty cheap on online used booksellers. The ones in the 70s, you have to stop and really watch your sales and jump when they're priced reasonably because they can get very, very expensive. But I want to take you inside the book and show you why it's so interesting. It brings back a lot of memories, so it's good from a nostalgia standpoint. But it's also interesting to get a sense of how players were judged back then. You can learn a lot about the times just by the language that he's using, in addition to learning about the teams and the players as well. So let's go inside the book for a minute. The edition we're going to look at is actually the 1977 edition for what I want to illustrate here. And we're looking at the Boston Red Sox section. And this is Fred Lynn. And here's what it says about him after the 1976 season. So you see the statistics are listed for you here. There's nothing sabermetric about this, but you get the basics. Here's what it says. Fall from the top. In an off year, he still batted .314, but dropped off 40 in RBI, 15 in HRs. Little hurts and contract squabble contributed to his slide. Finally settled contract dispute with a 5-year contract estimated at $1 million value. Now let's stop there for just a second. Little hurts and contract squabble contributed to his slide. Well, that's a remarkable, I don't want to say assumption, but like piecing together of evidence. And then, now you got to think back now, 1977, $1 million contract. This is almost anti-player language here. Little hurts and contract squabble. Finally settled contract dispute with a 5-year contract with the money value listed. Kind of shocking. This is very aggressive reporting and writing for 1977. Now, it's not snarky, but it's got an edge to it. And that's why I like it. Don't always agree with everything that's in here, but you definitely get a flavor of the player. I'll give you one more example. It's Rick Wise. At crossroads of a seesaw career. I don't get paid for complete games, I get paid to win. Now okay, so we have a quote here from Rick Wise. I don't get paid for complete games, I get paid to win. No comment, just states the quote. Very interesting writing. I mean, you can take this a number of different ways. Was only 14 after 19 the previous year and called his season disappointing, frustrating, mentally depressing. All right. One of baseball's champion cigar smokers. There's a lot of stuff in here to unpack and think about. And these are just 2 players, and there's 300 of these things inside one of these books. I'm just a big fan. I used to have all of them. I'm trying to piece my collection back together. So, if you can find one reasonably priced, and that's what I'm encouraging you to do, look for sales. These are wonderful. The Complete Handbook of Baseball. Zander, Hollander is the author. Probably did a lot of editing here. I believe that's what he did. He was the editor, but he did some writing in it too. And the publisher is Signet. And I'll put that information in the description for the video. Thanks for being with me. I'll be back next Monday with another book review. Have a great day, everybody. So long, everybody.